In the early days of the Empire, all former Republic officers who served in the Clone War were expected to accept Palpatine's new order without question. This, of course, put many officers in a difficult position. Serving in the war not only made them loyal to the idea of Republican government rather than Empire, but many also came to view the Jedi as heroes, loyal to them through the bonds forged in war. Therefore, accepting the idea that the Jedi turned against the Republic was exceptionally difficult. But perhaps no former Republic officer was in a tougher position than Officer Jace Dallin, who would become one of Vader's earliest victims in the early weeks of the Empire. Born on the planet of Rendili with a tremendous commitment to the Republic, it was this commitment that pushed Jace towards a career in the military. His service to Senator Tarkin, a staunch militarist wishing to see the Republic rebuild a standing navy and army, and cousin of future Grand Moff Tarkin, eventually saw Jace rise to second in command of the Republic Outland Region Security Force. However, it was this service that also brought Jace into the Stark Hyperspace War. When Tarkin wished to use his military against the pirates known as the Stark Combine, Jace answered the call and joined the fleet in rallying against Stark. But an ambush by the pirates resulted in the outbreak of warfare on the planet of Troikan, where Jace would join a Jedi team consisting of powerful Jedi such as Plo Koon, Qui-Gon Jinn, and then Padawans Obi-Wan Kenobi and Quinlan Vos. The fighting against the Stark forces was brutal, with Jace and the Jedi barely holding on for days. Eventually, through the efforts of Plo Koon, who became a hero in the war, Jace and the Jedi would emerge victorious, not just in the battle, but in the war. The same could be said about the Jedi as a whole, but Plo Koon's heroics particularly left a lasting impact on Jace. Years later, in the era of the Clone War, he would remind his friend Master Plo that his efforts in the war saved the lives of many, and for that, Jace committed his undying respect and loyalty to the Jedi Master until his dying day. After the Stark Hyperspace War, Jace would join the Republic's judicial forces and then the Rendili Home Defense Fleet in protection of his homeworld. By the time the Clone War broke out, Jace had risen to command the entire fleet. But the war would also come to test the officer's loyalty to the Republic and the Jedi. When the Separatists conquered Rendili, Jace was asked to commit his loyalty to them, becoming a puppet of the Confederacy. At this point, a Jedi strike team led by Jace's friend Plo Koon was sent to negotiate with the officer, attempting to encourage him to surrender Rendili's fleet to the Republic rather than let it fall into the hands of the Separatists. When a group of junior officers rose up against Jace to take control of the fleet, Jace found himself with a blaster to his head to tempt his defection. But the officer was still loyal to the Republic, telling Plo to sacrifice him in order to do what needed to be done. However, choosing life and recognizing their long friendship, Plo chose not to sacrifice Jace, again proving his honor. Eventually, a further Jedi strike team consisting of Anakin and Obi-Wan would free Jace and the Jedi and Republic negotiation team after they were taken hostage. Jace would not join the Separatists despite the position of his homeworld, and instead stayed loyal to the Republic. Again, the Jedi proved themselves as honorable to Jace, and his friendship with Plo Koon was only strengthened by the incident. He would choose to fight beside the Jedi for the remainder of the Clone War. This was the position Jace found himself in when Palpatine made his declaration of the New Order and formed the Galactic Republic into the Galactic Empire. In the early days of the Empire, Jace and a number of specifically selected former Republic officers were summoned to Coruscant. They were given no indication of the reason for the summons, but there were rumors circulating about a Jedi betrayal of Palpatine and the Republic. But the new Imperial officers would quickly learn the meaning behind their journey to Coruscant. Gathered together, Emperor Palpatine himself would emerge to speak before the officers, with Darth Vader following behind him. For many of the officers, it was the first time they had seen either of them since the Empire had been formed, and most reacted with shock when seeing Palpatine's injuries. It was these injuries the Emperor would address first, explaining he wanted the officers to hear the truth about the treachery of the Jedi directly from himself, and show his ravaged body as proof that the Jedi betrayed them. However, upon hearing these accusations, Jace couldn't hold back any longer and had to step forward to question the so-called Jedi betrayal, shouting up at Palpatine that it couldn't be true. The interruption by Jace caused Vader to also step forward and ask if the Imperial captain was suggesting the Emperor was lying, with Palpatine confirming now would be a good time for the officers to be introduced to Lord Vader, the Emperor's enforcer. After Vader warned Jace to choose his words wisely and explain whether he thought the Emperor was lying, the new Imperial officer attempted to tread lightly, explaining he was only suggesting that because he knew all Jedi to be honorable, some mistake regarding the Jedi betrayal had to have been made. But before Jace could finish, his own sentence had been decided by Vader. Not accepting any insubordination regarding the official story of the Jedi attack on Palpatine, the Sith Lord reached out with the Force to choke Jace, eventually lifting him off the ground. Once the life had been choked out of him, Vader then let his lifeless body fall, asking the rest of the officers if there were any other questions. Remaining loyal to the Jedi, and because of his friendship and duty to Plo Koon, Jace became an example of how the officers of the Empire were forced to accept the new order. So there we have it, how Vader killed Jace Dallin, one of Plo Koon's most loyal friends. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. Or perhaps follow us on Twitter at SW Reading Club for updates regarding the channel. Or support the channel through Patreon for access to exclusive rewards and discussions. If not for me... for terrible timing.